Well, Viceroy has come out with a report describing Vedanta Resources as a parasite and Vedanta Ltd as a dying host, while Vedanta has hit back stating that the sole objective of Viceroy's research report is creating a false propaganda. Well, let's go across to Mr. Gabriel, the co-founder at Viceroy Research, who joins us on the show. Hi, Gabriel. Good morning, and thanks a lot for joining in. Well, a couple of questions first before we start off the discussion. What's the current position of y'all on, on Vedanta Resources or Vedanta Ltd? We could clear the air on that first.
Sure. Per the first line of our report, we're short the debt of Vedanta Resources, which is the parent company and controlling entity of Vedanta Ltd.
Got it. And no position on Vedanta Ltd?
No.
Got that. All right. So that's out of the way. Now, the timing of this report is interesting, right, Gabriel? Because all these data points from Vedanta Ltd, Vedanta Resources, they were already known. So the question is, why exactly did you choose this sort of a time? One would say that the demerger is in the offing, and that's why, in fact, could be a bit of a span in the works. Explain to us the timing.
Well, I think, this has been the talk of the town for quite some time. But, to address what has already been known, if it has already been known that, ESL Steel is engaging in CapEx fraud, or that Vedanta Ltd are hiding tens of billions of dollars of contingent liabilities and fake asset values, and the auditors are not fit for purpose, or, that the balance sheet is propped up by impaired assets. And, well, I guess that says more about the analysts, who are still promoting the stock to their clients. As for the timing, this timing has occurred simply because we received the annual report only a few weeks ago. We've updated our research to fit that FY 2025 report, and we've released it as soon as we could. This has been a few months in the work.
All right, you made various allegations in that report and have gone through that. But, Gabriel, as you said, various analysts still believe that the stock is attractive. Various research reports, they say that the stock is trading at less than 5 times EV on EBITDA. So they believe that it's attractive. But you have a different view. Right. My question to you is, all eyes on the demerger, and people believe that if the regulators give a go-ahead, there'll be big value unlocking on the demerger. But you believe no? Tell us why.
Well, we've gone through every operating subsidiary and their financial accounts individually. And if this demerger does occur, what will happen is you will be left with, substantially non-operating subsidiaries or financially unsustainable subsidiaries laden with debt that won't be able to support themselves. We don't see why any stakeholder would prefer this to the current, barely sustainable model that currently exists. And we don't see how this can unlock any value because these assets that will be spun off are inherently unprofitable.
Gabriel, hi, good morning.
Morning.
Would it be possible for you to disclose the size of your short position on Vedanta Resources debt?
No, we're not going to disclose that.
Okay, but is it a short position that only you have built, or are there other investors that have built this position along with you?
We're not going to disclose how we engage
the details
in short
of your
position.
short. Okay, it was just
report.
All right. That's all right. It was just my job to ask.
No, it's okay.
Coming back to the report, you obviously cite the ballooning debt or the growing debt at Vedanta Resources, and you're saying it's a parasite, it's a zombie entity. So I just want to ask about the debt itself, because the group actually has been reducing its debt. It's known that they've been, holding on to very large amounts of debt. But as our data, throws up, from a debt of almost $9 billion, that number has come down to less than $5 billion as of March 2025. So again, you're not looking at that at all, the promoter intent of deleveraging, because that's been stated public intent of the promoters.
Correct. We have looked at the net debt of the group, and we have looked at the net debt of Vedanta Ltd by itself and of Vedanta Resources. It is true that Vedanta Resources has reduced its debt. The group on a net basis has not. The reason that the gross debt is falling is because of rampant asset sales, a diminishing cash position, and effective working capital management. These are one-trick ponies that the company does not have access to anymore. It cannot raise more debt. It cannot sell any more assets. It doesn't have as large of a cash position as it had before. It has no working capital to manage to unlock that value, and it's basically levered to the hilt.
Gabriel, if you had come out with this report, I think a couple of years ago, they were in far worse state than what it is today. But nonetheless, you believe even at current reckoning, you mentioned in your report, in fact, that the structure is fundamentally broken and headed for disorderly collapse. But I'm looking at a couple of global ratings agencies like S&P, Moody's. They went ahead and they upgraded Vedanta Resources, in the last 12 months or so. Are you hinting at a default at Vedanta Resources or Vedanta Limited? If yes, by when are you factoring that to come about?
Well, let's go back one step before this. 2 years ago, Vedanta Limited was in a far better position in the sense that its interest payments were substantially lower. The effective interest rate has almost doubled since 2022. Meaning that although you can look at the debt whichever way you like, the free cash flow that supports interest payments has taken a massive hit because the cost of this debt has exploded, and we don't we don't go to ratings agencies for our research, and we don't rely on that for our research. We conduct our own research. Most of our research, historically, and our track record has been to stress test qualitative aspects of businesses in a much more thorough methodological way than ratings agencies or other analysts.
That's great.
And it's proven to work time after time.
That's great, Gabriel, and good on y'all. But I just want to know, you believe that this is like a ticking bomb, right? By when do you expect a default at Vedanta Resources, Vedanta Limited? We have had Mr. Anil Agarwal on the channel a few months ago or so, and he continues to make this point that they will not default, and he's very, very confident about it. But you don't believe so. So tell us.
Well, as it stands, Vedanta Resources, Vedanta Limited, let's say, it doesn't have the capacity to cover the interest costs of Vedanta Resources. So whether that will create an eventual default, or whether the possible impairment of billions of dollars of Vedanta Limited's assets will lead the creditors to call that debt. That's anyone's game. We're here to report it. Whether we're a bit too early or a bit too late is irrelevant. We've written our research, and we think that the end result is a disorderly collapse.
But Gabriel, are you expecting a default from Vedanta Resources anytime in the near future?
Yes, we are. We believe the best, and we've written this, we believe the best outcome for the stakeholders of Vedanta Limited, that includes the creditors of Vedanta Resources, because their collateral is basically the equity in Vedanta Limited. We believe the best outcome is to take this business away from a group that is effectively pillaging this business for its own needs. Vedanta is run by a majority shareholder for their exclusive benefit. It doesn't align with the goals of minority shareholders.
Vedanta, in their statement yesterday, also said that you didn't make any attempt to reach out to them. Typically, when analysts write on companies, they want to ask hard questions to the management. But Viceroy Research didn't feel it proper to do so?
No, we don't engage with management. We believe every information that the shareholders should know is available online. And, given what we have uncovered, it's clear to us that we believe that they're habitually untruthful.
Gabriel, I'll tell you what, as you're saying that Vedanta Resources has been draining Vedanta Limited of all the cash, everything's for the benefit of Vedanta Resources. I'll tell you what, there was some feedback that came in from shareholders yesterday. They are very happy because the kind of dividends that they've got in the last few years could have been as much as the share price, say 3 years or so ago. So they said, they don't see it's a big concern. But as you're stating, for you, it's a concern because you're saying that, in fact, it's getting totally squeezed out. I get that point. So it's different ways of looking at it. But shareholders, I'll tell you what, some of them are quite happy because the shareholders have been gaining as much as what, the Vedanta Resources promoter as well has been gaining. That said, have you been contacted by Vedanta Limited, either the regulators here in India or anyone else? Have you had any kind of conversations?
We obviously send our work to the regulators, and we submit that to the regulators in every job we do. But we haven't heard from Vedanta, no.
Mm-hmm. As of now, you mentioned Viceroy hasn't taken any positions on Vedanta, the Indian listed entity. Do you have a view on the Indian entity? Do you find that to be absolutely sound otherwise?
No, we think that Vedanta Limited has been overly promotional in the ability of its business and the ability of its operating assets, which that have been largely overstated. We believe that the company has revalued substantial assets, billions of assets, at at unreasonably high levels, and have borrowed.
Okay, let me just restate that for our viewers, just so that we know your position clearly. You're saying that assets held under Vedanta Ltd, the Indian listed entity, are overstated. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
To what extent? I mean, some rough back of the envelope estimates?
Billions, multiple billions of dollars.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right, Gabriel, final question before we let you go. Are you done with the report, or will you have more reports coming out on Vedanta?
Oh, we have more.
You'll have more in store. All right. Is it only Vedanta or any other Indian listed companies you're looking at?
No, I might need a break after this one.
Got it. All right. We've heard your side of the story, Gabriel. Thanks a lot for joining in. Appreciate it. And we look forward to chatting up with you in the time to come as well. You know, the evidence that we have from Vedanta's presentation suggests that their debt has been coming down in Vedanta Limited, Vedanta Resources as well. But you believe that, you know, things are coming to a bit of a dicey situation for the company. We'll see how that goes. And as you mentioned, you're expecting them to default as well. Vedanta Resources debt comes up for you on the screen. Vedanta Limited as well. If you look at it on a net debt to EBITDA basis as well, it's come down drastically to around 1.2 or thereabouts from around 3 in the past.